picture this. You're young kids that just hopped on Minecraft after a very long day of school. You hopped on a server called CPvP Club, where you play your favorite game called Crystal PvP. That was me approximately 3 years ago, when I first started my journey on Minecraft PvP. I was overwhelmed of the dozens and dozens of game modes you could play, but there's one that stood out to me the most, Crystal PvP. I fell in love with Crystal and I achieved my dream goal of low tier 3, and I will be teaching you of how to achieve that and some tips you can use to improve. This is how I mastered Crystal PvP. The first thing is, I want to tell you about my mistakes I made in my journey of Crystal PvP that I see a lot of other players making. The first mistake is knowing what mods give an unfair advantage or actually a quality of life PvP mod. And the second thing is toxicity. When I started Crystal PvP, I wanted to find mods that actually made me better at the game, and I found mods such as Click Crystal and Wolfski's Crystal Optimizer, and at the time I did not know any of them were hacks, until I got tested on a small tier list at the time, Crystal Ranked. I was trying to test for high tier 3 because I thought I was good with these hacks, until the tester screen shared me and told me that I was using hacks, and I got permanently restricted on the server. If you're still here and have not clicked off yet, basically to summarize the story, I got restricted on the tier list again, then I dropped the video of how I got legit at Minecraft PvP in 1 month. Basically, for the first tip, know what mods are generally good quality of life mods and ones that actually give an unfair advantage. Now for mistake number 2, which is toxicity. For this, I don't really need to go into details, just please don't be toxic on the MC community. Everyone's here to have fun, so don't ruin it for others. Now I'm going to move on to actual tips that will help you. And no, this video isn't a BS guide of how to detap or anchor spam on a low tier 5. This is actual good tips that will help you perform better on your tier test and much more. You're probably wondering, why should I take advice from a random boost to low tier 3? This advice isn't only coming from me, it's also coming from high tier 3s, low tier 3s, high tier 2s, etc. But if you want, still take everything with a grain of salt. I know I've been dragging this out long enough, but here's the tips that will make you instantly improve in Crystal PvP. Now I'll be starting off with these categories of miscellaneous, mechanics, eval testing, and drain testing. Also, there are chapters in this video so you can find what tips you're looking for. Now on to the first tip, which is strafing. You might think strafing is not that useful in Crystal PvP, but trust me, it is. Lots of the high tier 3 players and low tier 3s, they constantly move around, making it unpredictable for your opponent to detap you and get you into a position to anchor spam. Since Crystal is basically a game mode of standing still and constantly being in your inventory, it's always good to strafe. To practice and get into this habit, when you're practicing your detaps, always move around unpredictably, but try not to mess up your aim when placing the crystals. Or if you're in a duel, try to only detap them while moving around, and vice versa for anchors. Tip number 2. This tip is the majority for lower tier players, and which is shielding. I see a lot of players just constantly shield and barely show off any mechanics during their tests, and that can easily lead the tester to giving you a lower tier. So stop shielding and actually work on your mechanics to do damage. Simple. Speaking about mechanics, this leads us to the second category of tips, which, you guessed it, mechanics. The first tip in mechanics is how to counter aggros with anchors. When a player is purling towards you, it's best to anchor to the left or right instead of the center, because there's a 99% chance that your anchor can get stuck on their purl, causing the anchor to ghost and you can't do anything, and they can easily detap you, ending the fight. To get into this habit, think about detapping. Most people detap to the left or right, which is good, so do that with anchors. The second tip in mechanics is keybinds, and keep in mind you could still get good with bad keybinds, but they could be capping how good you actually are at Crystal PvP. So if you want to find your perfect keybinds, I'll recommend watching a guide by Theobald the Bird and Pit Viper, which will be linked in the description below. Now on to the third category of tips, which is eval testing. These category of tips is actually strategies for what to use to pass your eval and get low tier 3. Believe it or not, the best way to pass your eval is actually play extremely annoying. I know a lot of testers hate this, and even if you don't pass your eval, the tester could probably give you a bad tier just because they hate how you play. Another thing to keep in mind as well is that you should always use some sort of util, like a elytra, mace, axe, maybe digging even a little bit, but that could be annoying towards the tester. Showing these stuff that you know how to use them can actually boost your chances of getting a good tier. And the quickest way to end the fight is just anchor spamming. I recommend anchor spamming to side the tester and behind them as well, and maybe going for a little detap after you anchor spam for a bit. Most testers automatically assume if you can spam 5 anchors, they'll give you low tier 4 to high tier 4. Now onto the last category of tips, which is drain testing. And straight off the bat, for a disclaimer, do not test for high tier 3 if you have horrible game sense, because Drain, you have only 8 totems, whole bunch of util to use, and if you can't use that properly, you're definitely failing for high tier 3. In Drain, you want to play extremely annoying. You want to waste all the materials and your opponent's resources since you have a lot to use at your disposal. You want to aggro against them, hurl away instantly when you know you can't win a fight, and don't always stick holes because you can easily die and fail your tests. Some things to look out for is being very familiar with what you have in your inventory and how to quickly switch to them. Because there's going to be times when your opponent is shielded and you need to quickly switch to your axe or use other utils in your inventory. Another thing to have useful in your Drain kit is harming arrows. You might not think this is useful, but if you're at a distance and you're just boning your opponent down, you can shred through their saturation with harming 2 arrows. And this pretty much wraps up the category of Drain tip. I also have a Discord server with the best texture packs and mods to use. Link in the description below. Also, I'm an official partner of Voice Mods, so you can use code BISCUIT to save 5% off on a one-time purchase or your monthly subscription. It helps me out a ton, so thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe because I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers and I want to get monetized, which watch time watching this video all the way through will help me out. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.